Alright everybody, Josh here with Josh Lawn Landscape, here to do a actual full review on the Toro Titan. Y'all seen on some of my videos, you heard me talk about it, but I actually haven't done a full-on, what I would say, review of just kind of everything at once, overview of the mower and my thoughts on it. So I'm going to turn the camera around right here, let's do a quick overview, talk about some things, some pluses and minuses, overall good machine, my thoughts on it, and where I'm going to go with it in the future. So here we go. This is the Toro Titan MX6000, which is the 60-inch cut. I have put new tires on it. I have serviced the hydros in it. It does come with the suspension seat as the adjustment knob for soft and firm. Here in the front, you just simply twist it one way or the other. Very comfortable seat, good ride. It does have pneumatic front wheels, which I think helps the ride a little bit. It is a little, with the soft cushion, it has a little give to it, as opposed to the solids that are on the John Deere Z-Track. Just finished putting a set of blades on it. The deck height adjustment is here. It's a pin type. You simply set your height adjustment, just flip the pin over. Let me get a little closer. You just flip your pin over, pull it out, select your height of cut, let it drop. So whatever you got it set on, typically 2.5 for me. And then what you'll do is push on the deck pedal, pull back on the handle, and it drops. And there's a little arm in there that catches on the pin wherever you have the deck set to. And then simply push it until the handle falls back in place and it holds it up on its own. No need to push that handle back. So as you've seen from one of my previous videos, it does have the ZT3100 drive motors, so does a good job with that. One thing that's a little different about this, most mowers I've seen have a fuel gauge of sorts that's visible either in the cap or around the cap, or most zero turns I would say. And this one is actually here in the front, you can see. So this one's got about a half a tank in it. Here's your parking brake. One feature of this one that the John Deere doesn't have is if you pull the handles in with the parking brake engaged, it will kill the motor. The Z-Track does not do that. So that's something that takes a little bit of getting used to. I do like the 60-inch cut for wide areas. This does tend to bounce a little bit because it is a lot lighter in the front, with most of your weight being at the driver right there over the rear wheels. So if you get kind of a rough yard, it can get to bouncing a little bit, and make you just have to slow down a little bit. So that can cause you a little bit of time on some yards in the case of just having to cut a little slower. It does do a good job. This is not the Turbo Force deck. This is just the Toro, I guess you would call it a standard deck. It does do a good job cutting. Keep good sharp blades on it. Obviously it struggles, even having a 24 horse Kawasaki. It seems to struggle more than my John Deere, which has a 23.5 horse Kawasaki. Both are 730s. I'm not sure why it's a half difference. One is a, I guess it's just a series. One is an FR 730V and the other one is an FX 730V. So I guess it's just maybe something to do with that. So it does have 22 by 9.5 by 12 rear wheels, and like I said, it's a 24 horsepower Kawasaki. Pretty much the exact same motor, is the exact same motor as what's on the Z-Track. The tires were actually 22 by 10 12s that were on it originally, and just an odd tire size. You couldn't, Carlisle doesn't make that size tire, so I actually went from a 10 wide to a 9.5 wide, which I'm not the biggest fan of the narrower tires. I really like the 24 by 12s. I think they could have did 22 by 12s on this. I do like the style or the look of the, I call it mag wheels. This mower only has 185.5 hours on it, so it's in pretty good shape. It does need to be cleaned up, as you can tell. Just needs to be washed off, blown off. I have removed the deck flap on this side just for maneuverability purposes, and the deck itself, if you look at it here in the front, sorry about the Mojack, but you can see where it hangs out a little bit to this side, whereas the 60-inch Z-Track mowers actually have a balanced deck where it's basically centered. So this took a little getting used to, but this is great for cutting along a shrub line or a wood line or around a tree, so you don't have to get as uptight on the tree. It's probably about the width from this tire over, maybe not quite, this wheel over. So a good, I'd say 3 or 4 inches further out this way at least. And so that helps for getting up close to certain areas. So excellent ride. It's a good overall mower. My only concern with this as far as the future is durability. This is a much lighter weight, as you might call it, mower. Not to say it's a bad build, it's very structurally sound, but just from riding it and the lightweightness, if you want to call it that, it just seems like with it not being as heavy duty a mower, I don't look to where, with the properties that I have and that I cut, that y'all have seen, that I will get as good a service out of this over the course of, say, the 1,100 hours that I've gotten out of the John Deere. So may end up getting rid of this or selling it at the end of the year. I've actually had a customer's yard that is just probably going to be a end of the season cut, a couple of more cuts on it, and next year he's going to go back to doing it on his own, that seemed to be interested in the mower, so may end up selling it to him. One thing I noticed with this mower, when I first got it and I looked at the reviews on it, a lot of people complained about the deck belt jumping off when you engage the PTO. I've had this happen to me twice, and I bought this mower used and had a little over 120 hours on it, so I got about 65 hours on it. I've had it happen twice while engaging the PTO. Or just after the PTO is engaged. Not in the middle of cutting. Once it gets going, I've never had an issue with it coming off. But one thing I think I have noticed, or just my opinion on it, and y'all let me know what y'all think, is engaging the PTO with the deck down. So I think what it is with the deck down, it creates a little bit of an angle on the belt. And when you put that force on it of the PTO engaging, I think it's angled on a pulley, and it's just causing it to jump off when it kind of jerks, and it just kind of lifts it up off the pulley. Just my thought, my opinion on what I think it could be. So what I've started doing is actually I'll set my deck height, get to my starting point. I will engage the PTO before I drop the deck. And so far in the last 5 to 10 hours, I have not had an issue with that. So that may be a fix for it. So if any of you have this mower and have had that issue and can't figure out why it keeps throwing the belt, that's just a little research of mine, a little thought of mine. So maybe that's helpful to somebody. Again, very comfortable ride. I love the suspension seat. It's a fairly quick mower, being that it's lighter, obviously, but even being probably 200 or 300 pounds heavier, the John Deere is just as fast as this mower. But it seems to be very quick and agile with shifting and turning. So much more so since I serviced the hydros on it recently. So easily accessible. Everything on this, like I say, you just pop up air filters in here. Pretty open around the engine bay. Easy to get to the oil filter, plenty of room right there. Spark plugs are easy to get to. You can simply get right here, spark plugs, reach right in there, take the oil filter off. You've seen me do an oil change on it. So those are my thoughts my opinions about the Toro Titan MX6000 60-inch cut zero-turn mower. So again, it's a solid machine. Don't know how long I'm going to hold on to it. Maybe the end of this year it might be gone. It just depends on how things go. So hopefully the review was helpful. If you've got any other questions about it, anything I didn't mention, just in general, the controls are over here. Ignition switch, throttle, PTO, the little choke handle pull there. Gas caps here, easily accessible. This does have a smaller, I think this is a slightly smaller filler neck than say the 590 here, which has a much larger. So it can cause an issue just with the fuel jug. But what I've kind of figured out is you can actually set the tank up, the fuel jug up here on this part here, and let the nozzle rest in there. And like I've got the no spill cans, so you just push down on a button and let it flow in. Does a good job. So other than that, nothing else going on. So those are my thoughts and just the overall review of the Toro Titan MX6000. From my experiences with it, I did remove the rollover bar because it had a bracket that stuck up above the seat and I was catching a lot of limbs. So I do still have the ROPS bar, just decided to take it off. I don't have a lot of really hilly properties that I would need it on, that I would use it on, so just kind of taking it out of the way for convenience. So one other feature, I'm sorry, I keep jumping back and realizing stuff that I missed, is I do really like the floorboard here because it simply flips up, and get the park brake out of the way. Just simply flips up, makes it real easy to blow the mower off. If you're in some thick grass or wet grass, it builds up. You can open that up and get up under there to blow it off, and then just flip it back down, which is I like a little better than, even though the John Deere has a removable floor, it's not really set up to be able to flip it up. You actually have to remove it to be able to get that access. So I like the flip up floorboard. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Again, that's my review on the Toro Titan. I've been wanting to do it for a little while, so y'all have seen it in some previous videos. Let me know what y'all think. Anybody out there watching has got one of these, any issues that you've had with it that I didn't mention. Anybody had the belt issue that hasn't tried what I think may solve it, seems to be working so far. So just any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll catch them on another video. And thanks to everybody who has subscribed to the channel. Thank you to everybody who's taking the time to watch. And y'all stick around for the next video, and we'll catch you on the next one.